We want to look now at something called DFS, or Distributed File System. If I just had some folders here on this file server, and some folders on this file server, and some folders on this file server, this computer would have to go to each one of those in order to get the files or the folders that it needs. So let's say that this is a computer in marketing. Well, there might be a marketing folder over here and a different marketing folder over here, and then they want to get some other folder from somewhere else. They'd have to go over here. It doesn't make any logical sense to this user. So let's just have a DFS server here that makes a composite folder. We call this a namespace, by the way. We give it a name. We call it a namespace. And then within that namespace, we have several folders. Here I've got a sales folder that might grab a folder off of here and maybe another folder off of here. And I've got a marketing folder that might grab one from here, and so on. And then I present this to the user as a single namespace. And now this user can see, oh yeah, here's the sales folder, the marketing folder, the management folder. So this user sees them arranged in a more logical style, rather than saying, well, I've got to go over here to this server. Let's see, this is the Wookiee server, and get my folder. But wait a minute, I think this other folder that I needed is over here on the R2D2 server, and I need to go over and get that, and so on. That's kind of confusing to this user. So we'll put it in a nice hierarchical folder structure so that to this user, all of this stuff is invisible. All they know is, oh yeah, I've got one folder called the composite folder that has all of these things in it. That's what DFS is doing. I'm going to install DFS now. So when I get down to server roles, I'm going to expand this file and storage services. That's where DFS is. And then this file and iSCSI services. And I'll click DFS namespaces. And it has some other features it has to install. And DFS replication. And you know what? I want to go back there. I also want to add the file server resource manager. There we go. And we'll install all three of those. We have our installation succeeded, and now I'm not going to go through an entire setup here because I don't have other servers set up to do this, but let's at least take a look at this. So let's go to our DFS management. Okay, so here we have our DFS management area, and I need to create a namespace on this server. So I'm going to right click and say new namespace, and the first thing it wants to know is what server, and this is my DC01 server, so I'm going to put it on this one, DC1. I'll put it there, and now what do I want to call this? Well, I'm going to call it composite folder. Now let's go ahead and click through these. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the details going on there, but now I have created a namespace. And now if I go into these individual, let's close this guy. Now if I go into here, I can make new folders, and this is where I would set up my folder structure. So here is my sales, and so on. And then I could actually add what folders they point to at this point. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to create a blank folder. We'll call this one production. And again, I could add a target at this point, but I'll just leave that open to do it later. And now if I click down here, you can see this is where I could add target folders, add folder target here, and add the targets of the various folders that I've created. And that is how we would set up DFS.